Hey everybody, it's Christina Holloway here. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about what you can do if you accepted a job and you already hate it quickly. There could be a number of reasons for this, so for this video, we're going to toss out the toxic work environment and any type of harassment or bullying. If you're experiencing that, then figure out an exit strategy so you can leave quickly. On the other hand, if you find that this job just isn't what you thought it was, or there's more to it than what you discussed in the job interview, then we're going to talk about 5 strategies that will help you consider whether you should take the loss and leave or figure out a path forward with a little shift in perspective. Real quick, if you enjoy this content and want to learn more about how to make power moves in your career, make sure to follow my channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video from me. All right, so let's get started. Number 1, consider your bigger goals. Yo, you've only been there 2 weeks, so what happened? Well, a few things can happen in the first 2 to 4 weeks that will have you rethinking this new job. For one, you could be responsible for a whole lot more than you thought. You could have a huge workload and no time for onboarding or training. You could also be working with an inexperienced boss who is overwhelmed and unhelpful. If that's the case, you can also check out this video here. Now, that means this is a situation-specific problem. You've been put into a situation that requires you to do more and work harder than you expected right out of the gate. Ask yourself if any of these situations and experiences are going to add to your career development. Will you eventually need to lead bigger teams with bigger responsibilities? If so, give yourself space to be unhappy that you're dealing with it now. Then start working on your skills here and make sure to document your wins. Has this also created a sense of overwhelm for you that you weren't expecting, or worse, that you thought you left behind from the previous job? Then you'll need to consider having an honest conversation with your supervisor or boss. Go in with a plan for how you can manage this situation so that you get relief and an understanding of what you're working towards. You need a purpose and a plan. Without that, you won't feel like you're working towards something beneficial to you. Number 2, understand where you want to go next. Like I just said, you need a purpose. What are you working towards? Where did you think this job and these experiences were going to take you? Most importantly, do you still see a path forward even though this job has turned into something unexpected? If there's even a small possibility that you can see where this experience will add to your career development, then try to figure out what you need to accomplish in the next 6 months to make this job worth your effort. If, after 6 months, you can't tolerate it anymore and nothing has changed or improved, then consider leaving, but in a purposeful way. Where are you going to go next with your experiences you've collected? Most importantly, how can you position those experiences into something you can use to move into the next level of your career development? You may be surprised to find that 6 months is all it takes to build up enough authority to leverage a better job and better pay. Number 3, evaluate your job satisfaction. So far, we've talked about situation-specific reasons why you might be unhappy. The job is not what you thought. But we also want to talk about people-specific reasons why you're unhappy at your new job. So what I said at the beginning still stands. If you're facing harassment or bullying, you should consider moving or leaving by first looking company-wide and asking yourself if you still belong here. This could be a moment when you realize you were never in alignment with this type of culture. Another way this plays out is to realize that you're surrounded by overwhelmed and unhelpful peers, or you could discover quickly that your boss is controlling or micromanaging or a perfectionist. For that, you want to consider how this could be a great opportunity to manage expectations across and up the org chart. Sometimes being unhappy at your new job is really about uncertainty and feeling like you've made a mistake before you give the situation a chance. As humans, we don't always like change, and if things don't look like you expected them to, you will have an uneasiness in the beginning. Figure out if you're struggling with the newness of the situation, or if you're afraid of making the same mistake you made before, or if you don't feel like you're equipped to handle difficult conversations with a new crew of people you were hoping would be easier to work with. That can be disappointing, but also short-lived. Your first impression could just be a panic response. Ask some questions, find some allies, and definitely use your communication toolkit to establish trust quickly. The sooner you start building relationships, the easier it's going to be to evaluate whether this first impression you have is a knee-jerk reaction or a gut feeling. Number 4, consider your financial risks. Try not to be that person who's capable of quitting on the spot because of a disagreement over something smaller, not super important in hindsight. Don't leave in a blaze of glory. If you have financial obligations, this will not help you. I'm not going to say never do it. There are plenty of situations where walking out makes sense, but if this is really just about you realizing this job isn't what you thought it was, then ask yourself what kind of plan you can create from here. Sometimes we get surprises at work. Building your career isn't a straight line, and sometimes you will need to consider plan B as you continue to build your career. Always consider what a career pivot will look like, how it will redirect you back to your original goal, and what you need to keep doing in order to keep momentum. Quitting and having no money won't help you. Number 5, where is their corporate culture alignment? Sure, you have your reasons for hating this new job, and 2 weeks can be just enough time to figure out if the environment is toxic. But take some time to also consider the overall corporate culture. There was something about this company overall that you liked, which is why you accepted the job in the first place. If it's possible to play the long game here, you could chalk this experience up to a bad match with expectations in the current job, but a match overall of where you want to be in your career. If you like the culture and you can see other departments are doing great work, consider doing the time until you can move. That requires a level of professionalism that you'll need to develop on the job. For that, check out my recent video on how to up-level your professionalism at work. All right, so that's it for my video on 5 things to consider before you loud quit that new job you hate already. Now, I've never done this, so if you have examples of how to quit a brand new job and why, then feel free to share in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. And if you enjoyed watching this video and you found it helpful, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up by hitting that like button and make sure you're subscribed to my channel so you never miss another video from me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.